It's Wednesday, December 22nd, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Government's finance team will be working closely with the Fair Trading Commission to take a closer look at Monday's VAT-free shopping. That's according to Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, who said authorities would only consider repeating the initiative if satisfied its objectives were achieved. The minister indicated that in the coming days, a comparative analysis of establishments' pricing patterns between Saturday, December 18th and Tuesday, December 21st would be conducted.
That is with a view to ensuring that that the intention of the measure was actually achieved, because we would have the data files that were used within the stores on Saturday, the data files that were used yesterday. We will have the data files for today in terms of the point-of-sale systems, and we will be able to compare to see whether the pricing was actually reduced to give the impact so that consumers would benefit. And we will do the same in terms of examining from the markets to make sure that the thing is there. So I'm confident that we will have the capacity to say to Barbadians, once we are able to look at as many of the data files as possible, to say that yes, it has been achieved. If there are some people who took an opportunity to try to extract more, then obviously that is a matter that we will deal with from the commerce and fair, I suppose, from the fair trading side. In terms of being to ensure that the consumers were protected.
Minister Strawn also defended the short notice of the VAT holiday as a consumer protection strategy.
We have been focusing on how we digitize and move a lot of our systems forward, and the private sector is the same. And the extent to which the notice was short was intended to ensure that there was no distortion to regular buying patterns, but equally to make sure that the capacity for price change was minimized in the context of the administration of this. Now, from an IT perspective, most places that you go and you shop, they have a point-of-sale system which itemizes all of the items, which obviously all the items in store are digitally scanned through, and therefore the extent to which the change in terms of the adjusted price to take up the VAT was simply just a function of dividing the current values by 1.175 and to then change what it becomes VATable in the database, which the IT people clearly have been able to do. And therefore it really is not as complicated as people have made it out.
Regional Credit Rating Agency Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Limited, CARICRIS, has reaffirmed Barbados' credit rating of Carib BB for local currency and Carib BB- for foreign currency, with a stable outlook. The Trinidad and Tobago-based agency said the expected performance of the International Monetary Fund-backed Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program had contributed to the outlook. It, however, warned of sustained economic challenges to a post-COVID recovery. Tuesday's court ruling, which set police officer Everton Gittins free of 3 criminal charges, including the March 2015 murder of Selwyn Blues Knight, is not entirely a done deal. That's according to attorney and MP for St. Michael Central Arthur Holder, who explained that the matter can be appealed, but that a decision rests with the Director of Public Prosecutions. Holder, who visited Knight's widow, his constituent, to explain the decision handed down by Magistrate Christy Coffey Sargent yesterday afternoon, spoke to reporters.
Having heard the decision made by the magistrate in relation to no case to answer, I thought it was important and prudent for me to go to my constituent to explain the process to her, what it means. I also explained to her that given the fact that the court would have ruled there's no case to answer, that the DPP's office can appeal that decision. Without being prejudiced and or biased, I explained to her the possible dilemma that she might have been placed in, given the fact that she had sued the Attorney General in a civil capacity. So that is the dilemma, contradiction, or the irony of it all is that the DPP will have to appeal the magistrate's decision, indicating that they are dissatisfied with the order made by the magistrate's court. But then the complainant, in this instance, the estate of the deceased, has sued the Crown in a civil capacity. So it is an interesting place to be in relation to the law and the outcome and justice to be seen for Miss Knight.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, my name is Christian Paul. I'm the country manager of BCIC here in Barbados. When the COVID vaccine first came out, I thought it was an interesting and a potentially successful way for us to navigate our way out of the pandemic and a return to some state of normalcy. I took the vaccine because I have a young family. I want to make sure that they are safe and protected. I have friends, extended family, and obviously I work here with colleagues, so I thought it was a good way to help protect them and to keep them safe, as well as myself. I would encourage others to take the vaccine because I know that you can still transmit the disease even if you're vaccinated, but the chances of being severely ill or worse, dying, are significantly reduced.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get back to living.
The news from the region, Guyana's Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony makes another appeal for residents to get vaccinated against COVID-19 given the threat of the Omicron variant. More from News Source, Guyana.
The light of Omicron, the looming threat of Omicron, which is now in about 89 countries, we have to take precautions and get ourselves protected, and therefore we are encouraging everyone who's eligible for that booster dose to come and make sure they get their booster dose.
Guyana saw an increase in COVID-19 cases and deaths when the Delta variant landed here a few months ago. While experts are still to understand the behavior of the various variants, they continue to advise that tough measures be put in place since it was already established that a new variant is more transmissible.
If you get infected, this is going to help you to protect yourself. More than likely you will get a milder form of the infection, and at least you wouldn't be hospitalized and die from COVID, which is very important. So I want to encourage people to get their vaccine, whether it's first, second, or booster doses. And please go out and do that as quickly as possible.
And finally, on the international scene, the resident and humanitarian coordinator at United Nations Assistance Mission in Somalia, Adam Adamola, says the country is facing one of the most complex humanitarian crises in the world. He also pointed out that in 2022, almost half of the country's population will require life-saving humanitarian protection assistance.
Usually, Somalia should be receiving the November to December rains now. Instead, widespread drought has devastated the country. Over 3.2 million people are currently experiencing the cumulative effects of 3 consecutive below-average rainy seasons. And at least 169,000 people have been forced into internal displacement and are in search of food, water, and pasture.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.